Hello, I am Dale Husband, the Honorable Skeptic. This is a podcast I am making using Plotagon to explain the history behind my battles with a treacherous individual known as Wacki. I first encountered Wacki back in 2009 when he posted this comment on my blog and WordPress, Dale Husband's Intellectual Rants. Dear Dale, I would encourage you highly to post this blog and any additional thoughts you might have on the subject to the site www.iranian.com. Currently the Baha'is are opportunistically using the occasion of the implosion of the theocracy in Iran to advertise their own brand of theofascism to a largely secular Iranian crowd. Since you are not an Iranian, it would be nearly impossible for you to be accused by the Baha'is of being an agent of the Islamic Republic. Please open an account over there and offer your views. Best regards, Wacki. And that's how it got started. Over the next decade, he and I fought together as brothers in arms against Baha'is in not only Iranian.com, but Facebook, YouTube, Blogspot, Quora, and Reddit. At no point did I suspect him to be anything other than a dedicated ally against the Baha'i faith. And if you are a true ally, you seek to form coalitions with different types of people who oppose the Baha'i faith, even if their motives are different from yours. For example, in Reddit, especially in the subreddit r/xbahi, I got to know two people in particular who were very different from me as an atheist Unitarian Universalist. One was known as Christian x Baha'i. She was a Baha'i for about 30 years, but converted from the faith after the year 2000, and after 10 years of having no religion became an evangelical Christian. The other was known as Investigator 919. He is a Shia Muslim who lives in Iran and thus was exactly the sort of person both Baha'is and atheists should be expected to fear most. But neither of them ever attacked me for being atheist, so as time passed I grew to appreciate them. The ultimate expression of my friendship with Wacki was when he and I did a podcast together in August of 2019. I came up with the idea of interviewing him and wrote up 10 questions, and after several weeks of planning together we made the podcast, which he uploaded it to his YouTube channel. It lasted over 40 minutes, and it not only featured my voice and the questions I wrote, Wacki even put my Circle H logo on it, which is copyrighted only to me. With Azoo's permission, I then made a copy of that podcast and uploaded it to my own YouTube channel. And then the trouble started. As time passed, Wacki became increasingly erratic and disruptive in his behavior, repeatedly attacking other members and accusing them of being Baha'is even if they showed no sign of allegiance to the faith. He even attacked the 3 mods of r/xbahi for enforcing the rules of Reddit on him, accusing them of operating as gatekeepers on behalf of the Baha'i leadership of Haifa, Israel. Of course, that is utter nonsense. Things reached a boiling point about 2 weeks after that podcast was made. Then Azoo said openly in r/xbahi, "Let me put you straight, Investigator 919. I don't give a flying monkey's backside about your power trip or Salman Wilson's or your territoriality over this subreddit. I have already put the word out far and wide all over the internet about what manner of scum actually manage this place and what dirty politics underlies it all. You, Salman Wilson and whoever yanks your chains belong to the faction of the IRA who are deep in bed with these cultists, and you, Wilson and Mirzajan, are gatekeeping and managing this place on behalf of the He fans. This nonsense is also going on inside Iran itself as we speak, where innocent people who are merely criticizing Baha'ism in social media all of a sudden find themselves hauled before a Teliat, the intelligence ministry, inside Iran itself. And the reason is simple. Because scum such as Wilson and yourself, who are more than likely card-carrying Baha'is, are under Rouhani helping the Baha'is within the system. Fortunately, there's a long track record for this kind of duplicity by both the He fans and you green Rouhani refs and John Ahmadinejad criminal mafia punks. You can block me from this place. It won't change the fact that your duplicity and that of Wisens have already been outed publicly, which is why the traffic to this place is daily coming to a grinding halt. Ban me, and one way or another, I will have this entire subreddit shut down and publicize your real identity, Salman Wilson's as well as Mirzajan's all over the internet for the trouble. You have been warned, and you should know by now that I am not one to be trifled with." That got him banned from the subreddit, and when I saw what he had said, I knew he was a pathological liar who didn't give a damn about the integrity of the subreddit at all. He was instead a narcissist who felt entitled to obey and respect no rules at all. And that made him dangerous. because I sided with the mods in their decision to expel Wacki from r/xbahi,
He began making me a target as well. He sent me a message later, which I will splice in with my direct responses to his nonsense.
Neither you, nor Christian Wacki, let alone the dodgy moderators of that place, have correctly addressed a single indictment of your duplicitous behavior. I stand by what I said, and others seem to agree about your lot over there as well. Not that consensus changes anything, since facts stand on their own regardless who disagrees or agrees with them.
How about the facts regarding your own immature behavior in the Wacki subreddit that got you banned?
You and Christian Wacki are especially blind to what you say and do. But that goes with the territory of being self-righteous wasps, so kindly stop playing the violin. Then again, white victim playing when called out on white duplicity always plays by the same playbook: reverse narrativization, victim blaming and gaslighting.
So anything a white person says to deny racism proves his racism? That's blatantly illogical.
Also, Christian Wacki still doesn't understand what gaslighting means.
Of course, we can always look up that word in a dictionary.
Now, let's look at your particular kind of white duplicity and dishonesty, one that people of color deal with 24/7 in a multitude of contexts, with always the same reactions from you people: denial and gaslighting. You brown-nosed on the very first comment of this post measures to restore civility.
I merely stated the obvious.
It was after your stupid comment which I got rid of you from the moderation of Real Xblaze, because at this point you have demonstrated that you are an asshole not to be trusted. So you have yourself to blame, and the facts demonstrate that the betraying was all your own, not mine. I cut weak links and don't keep them.
Then I should have ended my friendship with you long ago.
As I have maintained for years, the superstructure and basis of Bahaism is rooted in the white Anglo-Saxon global imperial project with its capitalism.
There is no evidence for this.
I began the podcast by offering the quote from de Tocqueville that speaks to precisely what is driving people like you, Christian Wacki, as well as Scott Hakala. Then I offered social psychological analyses showing that people like you and Christian Wacki are really spiritual tourists, and how what you people understand by pluralism is merely free market ideology masquerading as something else.
Freedom, pluralism, and democracy are not good things to have in a society? Would you rather have absolute monarchy or fascism?
I offered the link to Joseph Mason's latest book that addresses these very same issues. All of these points you and your evangelical Christian friend have ignored in almost exactly the same kind of terms that Baha'i cultists ignore points.
Those points are not applicable to us, obviously.
Which leads me to this point. Indeed, while it is not enough to merely bash Bahaism, without addressing the base and superstructure from which Bahaism subsists, this bashing is only telling a part of the story. I agree. But you are not interested in the other side of the story, because it indicts your entire society and way of life as being what fuels the Hafan Baha'i cult, because your interests, per your UU adherents, lies with perpetuating the white middle-class Anglo-Saxon imperial fallacy in its liberal form via the UU packaging.
So here we have your bigoted claim that white Americans can do no good. So why did you ever call me brother, you two-faced wacko?
In other words, you are peddling Americanism, which is the real enemy here, with Bahaism merely being one of its many colonial franchises, hence why my approach to these questions makes people like yourself inconformable, and thus makes your own approach to bashing Bahaism ultimately irrelevant, only playing into the system's hands, and more of the same. Repeatedly you have made Islamophobic statements and asides.
There's a difference between criticism of Islam and advocating bigotry against Muslims.
The fact that you now call me an extremist also now reinforces the fact and goes to the very heart of the white racism that animates your thinking about literally all of these issues, and why you cannot be an ally to what I am about.
Because any rejection of and opposition to your extremism must be racist.
Be that as it may, there is no such thing as reverse bigotry or reverse racism?
Yes, there is, and only left-wing dogma says otherwise. I do not endorse any dogma. His calling me a racist, because I am a white American who grew up in a southern state, Texas, and was even a Southern Baptist in my youth, was itself an expression of his bigotry against my being white, American, and of Christian background. And so that instantly discredited him. After several months of this bullshitting, he looked for another angle to attack me with. And he found it on my blog. More on that in the next podcast. In the first podcast of this series, I began telling the story of how I befriended a man known as Wacki, only for him to turn on me because of his being banned from the Baha'i group in Reddit. Now we continue the story. About a year after Wacki and I became enemies, he found a new angle to attack me over. Imagine you are a famous horror novelist, like Stephen King, with millions of fans around the world. You decide to write a historical fiction novel set during World War II and focusing on the Holocaust. You write the story about a concentration camp as accurately as possible, depicting the atrocities committed there in graphic detail and the Nazis involved as cruel and powerful, while their Jewish victims are shown to be helpless, the story only ending with the liberation of the camp by Allied forces. At no point do you endorse anything about Nazism, nor do you attack the Jewish community. And yet, after the novel is published, you are accused of being pro-Nazi, anti-Semitic, racist, and white supremacist, and you get tons of hate mail and even some death threats, causing you to go into hiding and consider quitting writing altogether. This despite you having made statements damning the Nazis and supporting Zionism in the past. The novel is considered proof of your true nature by people who are your sworn enemies. In 2017, Roy Moore, a right-wing religious extremist and former judge, ran for a place in the U.S. Senate, but lost to Democrat Doug Jones. During his campaign, it was revealed that Moore had violated the bodily autonomy of several young girls when he was decades younger, disturbing the people of Alabama enough to make them reject him. This was at a time when the Me Too movement, asserting the right of women to no longer tolerate sexual harassment from men, was a major social force. I decided to support this movement by discussing it on my blog. Thus on December 18, 2017, I wrote and published a blog entry titled, "Why I Am Far Better Than Roy Moore." I described an actual incident I had with a young girl and how, even when given a chance to molest her, I chose not to do that and let her go because I respected her body and mind enough to do so. Far from being an endorsement of child sexual abuse and pedophilia, it was a total condemnation of those things and a warning to adults about how to treat younger people. Because the girl I was with seemed to be giving me romantic signals, I mistakenly thought she had a crush on me, and so I thought I needed to address that issue directly with her. But instead, she clearly explained that she only saw me as a friend and was not in love with me. The moment she made that clear, I dropped the subject and moved on. My error was thinking her overly affectionate nature was something more. That's it. I made no attempt to seduce the girl, tell her she had to have sex with me at any point, or anything so disgusting. That simply didn't happen. But Wacki found that blog entry, and he and his cult followers began to spread links to it in various places, and he also made a video attacking me titled, "I kid you not, Dale husband confesses to being a pedophile." Needless to say, that is an outright lie, just like all the other lies that bastard has told about me. The only thing I ever confessed to on the blog entry in question was facing a difficult situation with a child and treating that child like an independent person rather than a sex object. A pedophile is a person attracted sexually only to children and aggressively seeking them out for sexual purposes, disregarding their own feelings and needs. After learning what Azoo had done, I asked a friend of mine, the same one I consulted in making the controversial blog entry, what I should do. She said,
"Unfortunately, in my experience, very little weight is put into someone's intention, only in others' perception. I would probably take it down if I were you, but there is no action that will immediately make this problem go away for you. Good luck, friend. Things like this are never easy."
So I removed the blog entry from public viewing. I also flagged the video calling me a pedophile, and most of the others calling me a racist, on Wacki YouTube channel. As a result, those videos were taken down. And because he linked to those slanderous podcasts on a blog he made on Blogspot, I got that entire blog wiped out for defamation of me. Soon after this, I was called to my church to meet with its minister and its president, and they told me that they were made aware of the allegations made against me by Wacki. I gave them a detailed explanation of my past dealings with him, how he had turned against me, and the actual purpose of the blog entry I wrote in reference to Roy Moore and the young girl I was with years ago. They accepted my explanation that Wacki was attacking me because he was an enemy of Unitarian Universalism, and blasting me as a pedophile was part of an agenda of bashing UUs, Americans, and liberals in general. So my church membership was not affected. Speaking of child abuse, I found a blog entry Wacki had made in which he documented a series of emails he had exchanged with the father of a 12-year-old girl, the half-sister of his own 8-year-old daughter. This was shortly after Wacki wife, the mother of both girls, had died, and he was inviting the 12-year-old to attend the funeral. But there was a catch.
I think it is a very good idea for Inchi to attend her mother's funeral and have a closure for her own sake, rather than find out about it years later and have to find her mother's gravesite alone. However, I advise very strongly that you not attend or physically come to Berlin, given the history, and also I myself will not allow your presence to be anywhere near where my daughter is present. This is also what Roya would have wanted. Inji is welcome to meet her baby half-sister whenever she wishes. You are not. There is a precise legal distinction here. And besides, you have absolutely no say in the matter whatsoever, in any case, legal or otherwise. I do, and for your information you are talking to a lawyer right now. Should you press the matter and come to Germany, I will have you arrested on the spot faster than you can say UK family court, and that is if you are lucky. This is no threat. This is a promise as sure as the sun rises in the firmament each day, so make of it what you wish. Also note, there are other lawyers here who know every intricacy, detail and minutiae relating to Roya's case in UK. People who would not hesitate to nail you and your crooked friends to a wall if you come here and they find out about it. So be on notice.
What the hell? As soon as I finished reading that exchange, I felt sick to my stomach. This was months before he and I made that podcast together, and had I known of this horrible behavior beforehand, I not only would have cancelled the plans for the podcast immediately, I would have ended my friendship with him as well. Azoo made a totally inappropriate demand on that other father, and thus by proxy was abusing a 12-year-old who had just lost her mother. Such a blatant lack of empathy is revolting. And even more bizarre was that he was willing to make such evidence of his own abusive behavior public. Eventually, I discovered that Azoo had copied the blog entry I made in reference to Roy Moore and posted it on his account in Internet Archive, thus making him a thief of intellectual property. And a caption below the entry read, "Post by Dale husband wherein he admits to grooming an 11-year-old girl." That's as blatantly false as claiming that Adolf Hitler's book Mein Kampf proves he is a Zionist. We have one more chapter of this outrageous story to tell. In November of 2021, Wacki Azoo's attempts to destroy me entered a new phase. He had apparently used both his own name and a pseudonym Nawir Abu Yasser to flag 3 of the videos I had uploaded onto my YouTube account. That's because it takes 3 copyright strikes to shut down a YouTube account. So he was hoping to eliminate me from YouTube quickly before I knew what was going on. According to the documentation on YouTube, Nawir Abu Yasser owned a blog called Gatehood, which had only 2 entries, titled Betrayed by Bret Hart and an update on Bret Hart. Both were dated to 2017. The events I had described in my videos on YouTube, Betrayed by Wacki Azoo, an update about Wacki Azoo, had occurred in 2019. It was claimed that I had copied the lines in my videos from these Gatehood blog entries. YouTube must have been suspicious of what was happening from the start, because those initial attempts only got me 2 copyright strikes, not 3 that was needed to shut down my account. As a result, I had time to issue counter notifications on 2 of the 3 videos attacked, and also took YouTube's copyright school that would allow the copyright strikes against me to be removed in a few months. So in desperation, Azoo flagged one more video, my podcast interview with him. But since that video clearly belongs to me too, Azoo has legally sealed his fate. The 3 copyright strikes against my account got my YouTube channel shut down for 2 weeks. During that time, I uploaded a lot of my videos to another video sharing service, Vimeo, and also contacted a member of the WordPress admin to ask what could be done about the blog Gatehood, which was powered by WordPress software. I was then referred to Namecheap, the company that actually hosted the Gatehood blog. And there I found proof that the blog was actually created in 2021, meaning the 2017 dates on the 2 blog entries were fraudulent. And therefore so were the 2 copyright claims against me. After I presented this evidence to YouTube, my account with them was restored. I was certain that Wacki Azoo was desperately trying to suppress the podcast I had made with him because it was damning proof of what a two-faced backstabber he had been to me. To prove this, I uploaded another copy of it to my channel on Vimeo and then announced what I had done in r/xbahi. And sure enough, Azoo took the bait and filed a false copyright claim on the video in Vimeo too, also getting it taken down and thus showing the podcast was a threat to him. And just like in YouTube, I filed a counter notification over that podcast. As it turned out, Wacki Azoo had made 2 Vimeo channels, and both of them featured videos attacking me. The same ones that I had gotten YouTube to remove a year earlier. One of those videos even had my Circle H logo on it. So I reported that to the Vimeo admin. To my surprise and delight, they not only removed the offensive videos, they immediately banned Wacki from Vimeo completely. Wacki was meanwhile attacking me on my own blog regarding the podcast. He was saying bullshit like this.
Dumbass, you tripped over yourself. I still hold copyright over that video. Even you have asserted it for the record. Not only have you not defeated anything, long term I have everything you own. Good luck in court.
As always, you are a liar. The video clearly belongs to both of us. And YouTube's terms of service prohibits fraud like you committed, so your goose is not only cooked, but burnt to a crisp. See you in court.
That's not how copyright works, idiot. The content was made from my computer by me. I never granted you any right to the content. Therefore the copyright remains mine. You have asserted it for the record yourself. Any court and/or lawyer worth their salt will tell you the same. I have you by the balls, and I will collect all kinds of damages from your sorry redneck pedo ass. Watch me.
But the law clearly says otherwise.
Joint copyright owners, each, have the same rights. They have the right to sell, display, assign, transfer, or create derivative works based on the work of art or authorship, and there will be no claim of copyright infringement if they do. In essence, joint copyright holders have the right to fully exploit their copyrighted work without the permission of the other copyright owner. While they may need to account to one another for profits, they do not need permission to do anything.
And I am able to prove with screenshots that the video in question belongs to me because Wacki and I clearly discussed plans for the podcast after I proposed it. Then I offered my Circle H logo to him, then he put my logo on the podcast thumbnail, and he even gave it the title Podcast with Dale Husband. So it is indeed mine. By making a copyright claim on that podcast, Wacki violated my intellectual property rights, period. Incredibly, Vimeo actually gave me something YouTube had not. Wacki's contact information, including his home address and phone number. With that information, I could finally sue him. In reference to Azoo granting me permission to copy the podcast for my own YouTube channel and then falsely claiming I had no right to do that, I called him an Indian giver on my blog, the term being a common American slang for taking back a gift by force. For that, he made a short podcast saying this somehow proved I am a racist. But of course, it doesn't. Clearly, he doesn't know anything about what racism really is and how it damages people as individuals and how it retards the progress of society in general. I accurately described with a common American expression his treacherous, hypocritical behavior which people of any race may commit, of course, and this was his only response? It's just stupid. The word racist is merely a childish insult to him, just like I imagine his calling me a pedophile was too. And yes, I make no apologies for using that term against him, since he is not an Indian. And I don't think actual Native Americans should feel insulted by it, if they are not backstabbers like Wacki is. It's a description of one's behavior, not one's skin color, ethnic background, gender, sexual orientation or DNA makeup. Note too that on all his videos on YouTube, he allows no comments, so no one who knows the truth about the issue of racism can confront him directly over his verbal abuse of me. Even more damning, he doesn't link to my blog entry in the description below the video, nor does he show any other part of the blog entry. Because clearly doing so would discredit him. It is the year 2035, the year after Suzanne and Laura got married. Daniel and Maria have retired from the Hudson family band, and so Matthew and Carla have become the band leaders, while Laura and Diana have become the new bassist and keyboardist respectively.
Okay, let us begin the recording process. Activating the recorder. Now. Mamu mamu wa 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 ni ya.
After the recording of the new song is completed, the Hudson family makes a digital file of it and attempts to upload it to YouTube, only to encounter a problem.
What? We have somehow lost access to our own YouTube channel. All the video and audio files that were on it are now gone, and we cannot even log into YouTube at all.
How could that have happened?
We just got an email from YouTube. I will read it.
Dear Hudson family, due to multiple copyright strikes against your YouTube channel, it has been disabled. If you believe you are not at fault in at least one of the incidents, you may issue a counter notification.
How the hell could we get copyright strikes against our own material?
We have done lots of cover songs in the past. Could that be the issue?
Nope. All the songs on our last 2 albums were written only by us. No one else owns any of that material. And yet 3 of our songs have been claimed by a Wacki Azoo. I've never even heard of this guy. How can he claim our songs? And now we have to wait several weeks for legal action to run its course, while we are deprived of our primary ability to issue music videos with our fans.
Dear Hudson family, I actually know of this Wacki Azoo. He is a religious extremist that has made many podcasts blasting Americans, capitalists, homosexuals, liberals and atheists, and made a video last year targeting your lead singer Suzanne and her wife Laura. Here is that video.
In the name of God, the Supreme Master. Today, I heard that the Hudson family lead singer Suzanne the feminist married her girlfriend Laura Park, and all across America people are celebrating this. This is yet another example of the corruption of America as a people. Allah made men for women and women for men, and decreed through the Prophet and the Quran that men are natural rulers over women. When women reject men and only marry among themselves, they reject the very one who made them and thus ruin themselves. The wrath of Allah will surely fall upon them.
Why, that arrogant bastard. So he thought to demonstrate how the wrath of God works by committing outright fraud against our own songs, claiming he wrote them? We must sue him.
Unfortunately, we don't know where he lives, so we can't sue him. But we can sue YouTube, so we will do that.
Father Matthew, and Suzanne, that Wacki Azoo has issued another podcast against us.
Praise be to Allah, Lord of the worlds. His holy wrath took down the YouTube channel of the Hudson family, just as I predicted he would. And I have also learned that he is making Suzanne blind as well. She always lacked spiritual vision, so that is fitting. May all the members of that family suffer and die from their own corruption.
Why, that fucking blasphemer. This is exactly why I am an atheist. Because of liars like him who claim to speak for God.
He won't get away with this. I have flagged both of the videos attacking us, and I hope YouTube will kick him off their platform soon. Fortunately, our new uploads to Vimeo are getting plenty of attention, so that will do, for now.
There's this app called Plotagon that can be used by almost anyone to tell stories and publish them onto video sharing sites like YouTube. This would be much more useful than to write and try to publish a book. I don't have to deal with publishers that might reject my book, and I can present the stories exactly the way I want. I really love these character models. They are not quite up to Pixar's standards, but they get my points across well enough. I wish I'd found this app years ago. I just hope the models I made of those people is accurate enough. I don't want to get in trouble with them. I do find the limitations of this app annoying, but I can't afford to pay a major Hollywood studio millions of dollars to make professional works. And no studio would bother with such subject matters as I am dealing with. What? I've somehow lost access to my own YouTube channel. All the videos I ever made on it, including the new ones featuring Sandy Smith, her children and their friends, are gone.
Dear Dale husband, due to multiple copyright claims made against several of your videos, your account with us has been disabled. If you believe the claims to be in error, you may issue counter notifications on those claims.
Wacki Azoo, that bigoted fanatic that has been attacking me and the other Unitarian Universalists for years. Just because I talked about him several times in my early videos, he makes copyright claims on them? Really? That's not how copyright is supposed to work. Well, he is not going to stop me.
Dale, who is this Wacki Azoo and why is he causing us trouble?
Well, it's a long story. Let me just say that he makes the Reverend Dave Owen that you told me about look reasonable. He's not just a troll, he is an online terrorist who has deluded himself into thinking he is some sort of mirror of Allah, whatever that means. He has been bashing me and others he hates with childish podcasts for years. I denounced him as a fraud and backstabber about 2 years ago.
So what can we do now?
Fortunately, I have a backup account on Vimeo I can upload my videos on. Also, I can send you copies of the videos of you I have already made so you can upload them to your own YouTube channel. Hopefully, Wacki Azoo won't notice you and target you like he has me. But I still have to take legal action to get my YouTube channel restored.
Good luck with that, Dale.
Ha 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 ha. Who could that be? I am not expecting a visitor. Who are you and why are you coming here to bother me?
Ah, you don't recognize me, do you? Is your memory that short? I am Dale Husband, the Honorable Skeptic.
What? How did you find me?
Remember a few months ago when you tried to get me banned from YouTube? Well, as a result of the legal action I had to take to get my YouTube channel restored, I got your personal information, including your home address. How odd that all this time I assumed you were in the Middle East, and instead you were right here in Texas too. Is that why you targeted me more than others? That must end now. So that is why I am here, to give you this.
A court summons? What am I charged with?
Well, among other things you have committed, you have done acts of defamation, slander, libel, theft of intellectual property, and copyright fraud. You belong in prison, but I am content to just clean out your bank accounts once a jury reviews all the damning evidence I have against you. Oh, and of course, you deserve this too. Since I have delivered the summons to you personally, you won't be able to run from it. See you in court, asshole. You won't believe what happened to me last week.
What do you mean?
There is this weapons-grade asshole, who I'll call Wacki Azoo, who has caused a lot of trouble for people in Reddit over the years. He is a religious fanatic and a narcissist. So he and I got into an argument over the Bayan, the central book of his religion.
The Bayan? I've never heard of that.
Oh, trust me. It's nothing important. But because someone criticized the Bab, the one who wrote the Bayan, Wacki Azoo went ballistic over it. The critics stated that the Bab commanded the destruction of all books except ones the Bab accepted.
What? That's terrible.
Yeah, but Wacki Azoo said there was no such law on the Bayan. Then he linked the copies of pages of the Bayan online and said, show directly from the Bayan where the destruction of books is commanded.
That seems fair, right?
Nope. And for 2 reasons. First, the pages of the Bayan he linked to were all in Arabic, and I can't read Arabic, so I knew I couldn't answer him. That wasn't fair. He should have presented an English translation of the Bayan instead. We were all speaking English in the actual discussion, after all.
Right. If the evidence is real, we all should be able to see it together.
Second, there are actually 2 Bayans, one in Arabic and one in Persian. 2 completely different books. And the law commanding the destruction of books is in the Persian Bayan.
You mean he actually cheated?
Right. And then he said that because we couldn't respond to his challenge, he had won the debate. So I finally looked up where years ago he himself had admitted that the law we were disputing over was indeed in the Persian Bayan, not the Arabic Bayan, and nailed him with it. So in the end, I made Wacki Azoo a public laughingstock. Beware. Beware. The world is coming to an end. The white American capitalist devils will destroy it. Allah has brought a new message to mankind. Destroy America and destroy all white people.
See, there's that lunatic that's been causing trouble in front of Jessica's cafe. She's going to call the police, but I wanted you here so you could see what happens.
And get a story for tonight's news broadcast. Thanks!
Jessica, I brought Paul with me. Go ahead and make the call now. Will do. I can't wait to see that weirdo busted. I just got a complaint about you disturbing the peace. You are not wanted here. Move.
The First Amendment gives me the right to free speech and to protest in public.
Not if you are on someone else's private property. Then you violate the property owner's rights.
Freedom applies to all or it is meaningless.
Time to make you pay, you freak. You are now under arrest.
Good thing I was here to record that arrest on my cell phone. Now to make a story out of it. And that's how an anti-white, anti-American terrorist wannabe got busted today. Good riddance. What are you doing here? Who are you?
I'm Lucy Conrad. I think you might make a useful ally of mine against Paul Jones, the head of Channel 1 News. So I will bail you out. Lucy Conrad has bailed out Wacki Azoo from jail, and together they plot against Paul Jones. Paul and I used to date before Vicky came along and swiped him away from me, so I want you to make him pay. That, and he humiliated you on national TV.
So how do I get at him?
Paul and Vicky never have breakfast together because of their work schedules. Vicky eats at the diner she works at, while Paul sometimes eats at the cafe you were protesting in front of. He arrives there usually around 7 a.m.
Then I'll be waiting to ambush him at that time. I will do my best to avenge both of us. Here we are at the diner. Hope you have an awesome day.
And suddenly, as Paul gets out, and so Paul is badly beaten. And eventually,
Mrs. Jones, this is Dr. Drake at the Patagonia City Hospital. I'm afraid I have some bad news.
what is it?
Your husband Paul was badly beaten in a parking lot. A bystander helped get him to the hospital and I've been treating him, but he doesn't look good.
I'll go immediately to see him. I'm sorry, Chuck, but this is an emergency. Paul needs me.
Can't you wait about an hour or so until I get a replacement for you?
Nearly 2 hours later.
I'm such a mess now. I'm so sorry.
You have nothing to apologize for. You were a victim of a crime. Who did this?
Wacki Azoo.
I'm sorry, Vicky. It was Lucy Conrad who bailed Wacki Azoo out of jail. Lucy must have sixed that madman on Paul. Can't you arrest her? We can't prove that Lucy was involved in the attack. And her bailing Mr. Azoo out was perfectly legal. But since Azoo was identified as Paul's attacker, I can arrest him for that. Do you know where he lives? If so, give me his address. I'd like the chance to avenge Paul myself, then I will give him to you. No problem. Go nail that creep. And a couple of hours later, Wacki Azoo goes to answer the door. And when he does,
Excuse me, young lady, but this is not Halloween. That was last week.
Shut up, you jerk. You may not wear a costume or makeup, but you are far more of a clown than me.
It will soon be time for the evening broadcast.
Right. And since Paul is out of commission, I will volunteer to take his place in front of the camera. Give me the script. What?
Lucy, you will do no such thing. I'm back and I will do my job now.
What? You can't go on TV looking like that.
Try to stop me, then. Let's not waste time arguing. Paul, you take the seat. Lucy, go home. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of Channel 1 News. Paul Jones reporting. In case you are wondering about the bandages, this morning I was attacked by Wacki Azoo, the fanatic I talked about earlier this week. He is now in jail again after my wife Vicky gave him a massive smackdown. And since he is not an American citizen, it's a safe bet that he will be deported back to his home country of Crapistan. Good riddance, I say. He tried to shut me up. And he failed. Hello, Dale Husband here. I'm making this quick video to respond to Wacki Azool's latest diatribe at me. If you don't know who he is or what the issues are between him and me, you may ignore this. For the rest of you, a link to his new video about me is below in the description. First, the title. He refers to me as Gomer, possibly as a reference to Gomer Pyle, a classic TV character that first appeared in the Andy Griffith Show and then got his own series. Gomer Pyle USMC Pyle was considered a buffoon by many people, but he also had a sense of morals, an honor that served him well in the second series he starred in. Wacki, of course, has no morals or honor to speak of. He is just a toxic asshole who lives to hurt anyone he can for any reason he can think of, with no loyalty to anyone who he can't use for his self-righteous purposes. But he is good at fooling people. He certainly fooled me for a while, because he and I were both enemies of the Baha'i faith. About 13 seconds into his video, he tells his first outright lie, asserting that the Reddit user known as Successful Corner 2512 is an alias of Investigator 919. What is the evidence for this? He provides none, merely asserting that, because both of them say they are willing to believe what Wacki dismisses as Iranian state propaganda, they must be the same person. Does he really believe that only one person on Reddit would believe something said by the government of Iran? What law says that? It makes no sense. And starting at 31 seconds and he certainly did not refute my argument about his own delusional rantings being an ad hominem fallacy. I'm not saying I believe everything the Iranian government says, but likewise I don't disbelieve something just because of its source. A claim is credible or not credible based strictly on its own merits, period. Wacki Azool has demonstrated repeatedly that his word is never to be trusted without a ton of fact-checking. He has lied about me personally, claiming that I am a racist, despite me making a great many statements in various places damning racism, that I am a pedophile and child groomer, even though I have written against the raping of underage kids, and even that I have been suicidal, despite me writing against suicide. He clearly did all those to try to discredit me. But most of those who investigate the matter have told me they know he was lying about me. It would have been better for him to have not begun his stupid smear campaign against me. 1 minute and 31 seconds in, Azoo makes another false assertion about me. I have never claimed to be an expert on Shia Islamic dogmas. But you don't need to be a world-famous chef of a 5-star restaurant to know a meal served at a fast food restaurant sucks. You don't need to be a mechanic to know when an actual mechanic has ripped you off with a repair job on your own car that failed to restore your car to full functionality. That's how I approached the issue of the Bab failing to meet the expectations of Shia Muslims. Did the Bab claim to be the return of the 12th Shia Imam, known as the Mahdi? Yes. Did he do what the Mahdi was expected to do? No! He was supposed to overthrow the enemies of the cause of God. Instead he gets slaughtered by a firing squad. So in the minds of most Shiites, That was enough to discredit the Bab in the 19th century, and there is no reason to think otherwise in the 21st century. The only reason the Bab had any followers after he was killed in 1850 was because of the sunk cost fallacy. The Babis had suffered so much while the Bab was alive that they refused to let go of their beliefs, so they reinterpreted them to depict the Bab's death as a glorious martyrdom. You know who had to face the same dilemma after the martyrdom of their leader? The early Christians. They did the same thing for the same reason, and it was just as stupid 2,000 years ago as it was in the 1850s. Small wonder I am an atheist. As for what really happened to Mahsa Amini while she was jailed, maybe she was beaten to death, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. And neither does Azoo. But he clearly finds the narrative that she was beaten and jailed to be useful to him, so he runs with it. And, of course, she never should have been arrested for not wearing a hijab in public anyway. Iran really should repeal such sexist requirements of women, and the authorities of that country should just grow up. You can protest against such laws and the arrest of women who defy them regardless of how Mahsa Amini died. Azoo has also lied about another Reddit user named Mirzajan, claiming that his real name is Nasser Mtsali, who runs a blog dedicated to slamming the Baha'i faith. Again, he has never presented any credible reason for this claim, which is why I don't believe it. So this bastard has attacked all three of the current moderators of the subreddit r/xbahi as well as a former moderator, Salman Wilson, and made all sorts of false claims about them in the subreddit. Why does he do this? Why not retain all of them as allies in his quest to discredit the Baha'i faith? Because in the end, the only one he is loyal to is himself, and the only cause he has any real tolerance for is his Bayani/Marxist lunacy he has been trying to sell for many years. And almost no one is buying it. The Bayani or baby faith's credibility was destroyed in 1850, and the credibility of Marxism was destroyed in the early 1990s when communism collapsed in Western Europe. Just like the credibility of the Baha'i faith was destroyed forever with the death of Shaghi Effendi in 1957. If you are defending causes and beliefs that have already been discredited, how can you be discrediting the Baha'i faith? You can't, of course. You need to get your own ducks in order before you mess with anyone else's ducks, obviously. Wacki Azoo simply needs to stop making up baseless shit about others to get attention for himself. I don't know how old he is, but he acts like a spoiled little bully. So he is never to be trusted. Not about me, not about the other mods of r/xbahi, not about the Iranian government and what it does. He is the very definition of a pathological liar.